All right, you bunch of weirdos. We've got another week of comic books in DC. We get more Sandman goodness over at Marvel. I don't know what they're doing over at Marvel. Apparently, the editors are on strike, and in Independence, Transformers. And let's just go ahead and say it. Oh my God. If you read it, you read it. If you didn't, oh, I'm going to do my best not to spoil it because it is magnificent. But first, as always, I'm going to try to sell you some coffee. But here's a new one for you, at least. Hey folks, I'm coming at you with a new announcement from Coffee Brand Coffee. They're running a sale right now where items are going up as far as 64% off. And if you use the promo code POCANJOE, you'll get an additional 20% off of everything that's on sale in there now. Also, the 20% POCANJOE promo code works for the monthly coffee subscription called Roaster's Choice. Guys, go check this stuff out. If you've been thinking about it, if you want to know more about it, check out Coffee Brand Coffee, and don't forget your promo code POCANJOE in all caps. Guys, if you've been thinking about it, now's the time to do it. All right, let's get on with the comic book review. Here we go. All right, you bunch of weirdos, let's jump into this week's comic book haul and review. We're kicking it off with DC, and we're going to start with Sandman. Now, right up off the bat, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been loving these covers for Sandman, but DC did something interesting this week with a lot of their hardcover titles or variant covers. They've added the trade dress cover to the inside of it. They've done this with a lot of them, and I thought that was kind of cool. Gimmicky, yeah, because now you're getting two covers, because I know double covering something is something that collectors go after. So I don't know what they're doing with that. I don't know. It's weird to me. But regardless, this is a great story. So far my predictions in this book have been completely off. And I generally like to think that I can kind of figure out a story to some degree. But in this one, the person that I thought it was, I was wrong. But I will tell you who it was. We should have kind of known, right? So our guy, Sandman, kind of being a pacifist, just wants to put people to sleep. We get something kind of interesting and something we've never done with the character of Sandman before. I want to be clear on that. I don't care how far back you go or how whatever modern book, we've never experienced what it was like to be under the influence of Sandman's gas. Not in the Golden Age, not in the Silver Age when he made a couple of appearances, when he kind of reimagined himself in the 80s. We've never gotten that. And what we find out is that this thing not only puts you to sleep, but it has a lasting effect on you as well, making you see all your regrets and shameful parts of you, bits of you, and I thought that was delicious. I just thought that was great. Because, right? Putting somebody to sleep doesn't make them better in the morning, except for maybe me. Because it means I get to eat breakfast, and I love breakfast and coffee. But for most people, right, it's like you don't learn a lesson by just simply sleeping it off, right? In this one, it actually shows you. It's almost like a hallucinogenic in that case, only you're asleep. So nightmare? I don't know how to word that. Things get weird in that area. But for the most part, just moving forward, and it's great. It is beautiful. We've got military involvement, and will Sandman have to commit treason to right or wrong, I guess is the best way to put this. Guys, go read this. Just go. I try not to recommend comic books, but every now and then I'm just like, it's so good. And you guys are smart and wonderful, and I know you'll get it. It's beautiful. All right, moving on. Action Comics. Action Comics came out this way. We finally got Bizarro back, right? Something that we've never addressed again in comic books before is if Bizarro is the opposite of Superman, right? With the exception of strength, of course. But what about weaknesses, right? So in this one, if you don't know, Superman has kind of a weakness towards magic. Woo-woo, right? Unfortunately, Bizarro doesn't. And he goes to a world where the magic came from. We'll just put it that way. The woo-woo land, if we will. Right? Goes there, beats some people, comes back. Now he can do spells and magic and things like that. One particular one where he can say things backwards so he can be understood when he speaks. That was smart the way they did that, right? Because other characters do that. Right? And other characters use magical artifacts as well. You see where they went with this? It's like little tidbits of stuff in there. If you're a comic book fan, you kind of should have caught that. But if you didn't, go back and take another look. Let me know if I'm right. But in this one, we find out that Bizarro is probably the saddest character in DC right now. His own world, Bizarro World, the place where they sent him to live his life with his family and everybody else, is gone. It has disappeared throughout the multiverse. And it is sad, right? Because he's truly alone now. And, well, he has a plan. He'll just change everything into Bizarro World. Yeah, he did that. So yeah, I've always liked Bizarro as a character because everybody, even in this book, they did it, and I thought it was beautiful. Like the people are like, oh, it's just Bizarro, the awkwardly weird, simpleton. They literally like have called him a simpleton in comic books before, right? And how what happens when you finally give somebody you treat like crap all the time, you give them the certain amount of power, and then everybody's surprised that it gets overused or used wrongly or revenge, right? I think that's great, right? Like, yeah, Bizarro, you go, man. Go, go, go make things right by your standards now, since nobody ever wanted to deal with you in the first place. I can't even call Bizarro a villain in this. He is, but it's regardless. Like, I can't think of any. We should all be able to relate to that in some way, shape, or form. And I thought that was great. Uh, Now, right or wrong, or a different story. I should say that, right? Because you shouldn't do that. But you shouldn't be surprised when it happens. So, moving on into Marvel. So, I picked up an X-Men #1. You want to take a guess why I picked this book up? Here's your cover, right? Like, right? So I read this, and I've been off of this for a little bit. So to be fair, I may not have the best review of this comic book. I'm just reviewing what I read. I should say that. To be fair, right? I know this is a really simplistic story to tell, but for some reason, the writer has decided to make it completely and utterly complicated, and it doesn't seem like there's any real I don't know, urgency to the story, right? Because we're dealing with timelines, right? You can flip flop around in timelines and goof around with things, right? And then we have people that are outside the timeline that are kind of controlling things. Basically, what it all boils down to is that somebody's got to die, and it's got to be somebody who kicked off this whole Powers of X, Fall of X thing. Yeah, her. She's got to, right? So this kind of plays with a lot of things that we hear about when we talk about time travel and stuff like that. Like, if you could travel back in time, what would you do? Go back to when, Hitler was a baby, and right? And then what effect would that have, right? That's always been the case. That's really the story that you're getting here. We're getting a destruction of a timeline to create a god. I think they missed a missed opportunity here. Instead of having a god created, this AI sentient god, I don't understand why they just didn't use Ego, the living planet. Like, that's a character, and he's a planet. And he's Ego. But, they wanted to go AI route, because topical, right? Everything's AI right now. I don't know. It's a lot of stuff, and you can see that there's some serious thought behind all this stuff, but it's just too much to digest while you're trying to go through what really is a simplistic story. So I don't know. I didn't much care for it. Sorry. All my X-Men fans, don't hate. All right, next. Sentry #2. So I dropped this book, but I have a very small haul this week, so I figured I'd go ahead and give issue 2 a try. And I was right. This is just somebody wanting to say or react to the things that are happening in a 24-hour news cycle. All right, and all the topographical word salad that is out there right now. So let me be clear. If you like a comic book that talks about immigrants coming into a country and you felt heartful to them, single mothers, a gay relationship, somebody with handicapped people being abled, and everybody being able to be a superhero, super powered, right? It covered all of it. All of it crammed in there. And basically, this is a Highlander story. There can only be one, right? We got one guy who has the power of Sentry, and we have several people with the power of Sentry as well. And he's picking them all off, except for one that he just left on the moon. Because cerebral palsy or something. I'm not really sure, but she still had the powers, and he was like, well, I got to go kill everybody else that has the same powers as you. So, peace. And like flew back to Earth, and I'm like, what? She's right there. Another missed opportunity, and you wonder why villains fail. Just saying, they're written that way. So yeah, this like there's a good story in here. I want to be clear on this. I don't want to just trash it, but if I want everything that's being in a 24-hour news cycle or constantly propagated over whatever platform, right? I don't need your comic book to do that. I'm inundated with that all day long, right? It was too much. Again, just like X-Men. It was too much crammed into very few pages and panels that you kind of forget that there's literally a guy out there who has a villain, right? Sadistic villain who has hero syndrome right now. Hero syndrome is when you want to be a hero, but you don't want to have to do all the stuff to be a hero, right? A lot of stolen valor guys are like that. Just throwing that out there for your knowledge. I don't like using terms unless I explain them, but it's a real phenomenon, right? That happens with people. And this is him, and he finally meets up with the Avengers, like, hey, I've had no training in this whatsoever, but power of 1,000 suns. I'm here to do battle. Seasoned veterans of the Avengers. It's like, that was actually, you know what, that wasn't too bad. That, because, like, they're going to put him in his place, he's not going to like that, and then fight. I don't know. Are you reading Sentry? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think? Is it like, what is all this other stuff that is going on? And does it matter? Are we too busy trying to relate to the consumer than tell a good story? Or do we really think that relating to every single demographic out there is part of the story? I honestly don't know these days. I just want to see bad guys do bad things and heroes try to stop them and sometimes fail. All right, moving on. Pick of the week. Can we just pick of the week? I'm going to tell you right now, Transformers #4. If you are a comic book fan, if you're an 80s cartoon fan from the Transformers, if you liked G.I. Joe and Transformers, if you dressed up like them for Halloween, begged your mom up and down to get you one of their figures from the Sears catalog or the JCPenney's catalog or whatever catalog came in your mailbox back then, and you're not reading this comic book, even if you grew out of that stuff and you're like older now and you're like, oh, I don't do kid stuff anymore. Like, you need to go read this comic book. It will give you the emotional feel that you desire when it comes to nostalgia.
You got the touch. You got the power. Yeah!
I'm not even lying. I'm turning Italian. That's how dedicated I am to this book. I don't know where this came from, but now I can't stop doing it. But back to the book. Listen to me. This thing has everything. It takes you on the emotional roller coaster. It has consequences to the decisions that the characters make in it. It's not just some woo-woo time thing that you can do or woo-woo magic thing. Like, people are getting hurt in this comic book. I love the way they make it. You see the way the Transformers transform in it, right? Like, right? It's 2 degree or 2 degree. It's not 2 degrees. It's a lot warmer than that. We would all be dead. It's 2-dimensional panels, but you get this feel of 3D when you read it. You get the consequences of somebody getting hurt in it and the sorrow that a father feels and regrets that he has. You get I lost my family. I've lost my family too, from something as hard and cold as a machine. You get the sadisticness of the villains in this. You can hear Starscream talking in this, like, you hear it in your head. And the whole connection to the Hasbro universe in this, the whole Ultron, Energon. I'm just all kinds of mistakes today. The Energon universe that they're creating here with Void Rivals, G.I. Joe, and the Transformers involved. And I don't know. I think I saw a hint of something else in there. You may have saw it too. It was a brief moment. I don't want to spoil anything though. But I think we might be getting another Hasbro property involved in the whole thing here. It's hard speculation. I don't want to throw it out there just yet, because they won't do it in the next issue. I already know that because I've already read it. But but it may be coming down the line. So my speculators, comic book collectors out there that like this kind of stuff, you may want to be keeping your eyes open. I'm strong on it. After the next issue, I will announce what I believe it is. So that's it. That's my comic book haul and review. It was a short week, but it was a fun week. Great stuff, bad stuff, doesn't matter. It's all in between. And it doesn't matter what my superficial view is on this stuff. I just hope that you're buying what you like and you're enjoying what you're reading. Other than that, folks, check out Coffee Brand Coffee. I'll see you around in the chats. And, of course, as always, we got an Evil Air project coming up. And I'll talk to you all later. Bye.
You got the touch. You got the power.